Hi, and welcome to the Introduction to EndNote 20 class for Windows. Today, we'll go over how to set up an EndNote library, how to download citations from different health sciences databases, and how to use EndNote within Microsoft Word. The Medical Center Library provides instructions for downloading and setting up EndNote. These instructions can be found by navigating to the EndNote guide from the MCL homepage. From there, look under EndNote Help and Resources. The instructions can be found under the Downloading and Setting Up EndNote PDF. If you don't already have EndNote installed on your computer, you can download it here at this link, download.uky.edu. Make sure you download the most current version, which is EndNote 20. And once you've installed EndNote on your computer and you open it up for the first time, this is what your screen will look like. This is because there is no EndNote library open at the moment. But before we create an EndNote library, we're going to finish setting up EndNote. We're going to make it so that you can retrieve full text from UK's library catalog from within EndNote. To do this, we'll need to edit our preferences. So go up to the Edit button and select Preferences here at the bottom. And from here, you'll need to edit links in the Find Full Text section and in the URLs and Links section. I've already added these links to my EndNote program. But once you've done this, you'll need to hit Apply and then hit OK. The links that you'll need to copy and paste into your EndNote preferences can be found in the Downloading and Setting Up EndNote PDF instructions. And if you scroll down to the EndNote Preferences section, you will be able to find out these links and the locations you need to paste them into. Back in EndNote, I'm going to create a new library now. So I'm going to go up to File and then hit New. And I'm going to call this EndNote library Intro to EndNote. And hit Save. And now I'm going to maximize this window here. Also, you can only have one EndNote library open at a time. So if I wanted to close this Intro to EndNote library, you could go up to File and hit Close Library. If I wanted to create another library, I could then go to File, New, and then call this one something else, like Library 2, and hit Save. Now that this library is open, I'm going to close it. If I wanted to open up my original Intro to EndNote library, I could then go to File, Open Library, and then select the Intro to EndNote.enl file. So I'm going to hit Open, and this brings back the original Intro to EndNote library. I should also point out that you always want to save your EndNote libraries to your computer's hard drive. So if I go back to Open Library from earlier, you'll see that I saved both of the libraries that I created in documents on my computer. You never want to save your EndNote library to the cloud, like OneDrive, or it will corrupt your file eventually and you'll lose your EndNote library data. So saving it to your documents is the better place to save it to. Now, before we move on to importing references from other databases, we're going to create groups so that we can organize these references within EndNote. One way to do that is to right-click on My Groups and hit Create Group. So, for example, I would name this one PubMed. You could also go up to Groups up top, click that, and hit Create Group. So this one I'm going to name CINAHL, and then I'm going to do that 2 more times. And I'm going to name these groups WOS for Web of Science, and then name the last one Google Scholar. The first database that we're going to demonstrate how to import citations into EndNote from is PubMed. So I'm going to go back to the Medical Center Library webpage. And to get to PubMed from the Medical Center Library webpage, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I can find it under Selected Databases. So I'm going to right-click to open it up in a new tab. And so I'm going to start with a basic search, for example, cancer. If I want to import a single citation, I could click on the article's title, and then in the abstract page, I can select Send to, Citation Manager, and then hit Create File. And make sure that you've selected for this type of file to open with EndNote. And here it says EndNote 20. So that's what I'm going to do now. Then hit OK. And so I'm going to open up EndNote, and you can see that this reference imported into EndNote under Imported References, which is where I am now. Now, going back to PubMed, I'm going to go back to search results by clicking here. And so if you wanted to import more than one citation at a time, you can check mark the boxes next to the titles of the articles you want to import here on the search results page. And then scroll back up to the top and hit Send to Citation Manager, and then Create File for Selection 2. And then I'm also going to hit Open. It's the same process for doing more than one. So now I'm going to go back and open EndNote. And here you'll notice that the imported references have only the references that you imported just now. So in this case, I only imported the 2 references from the search results page. So that's what you're seeing here. But if I go to all references, it has all 3 references that I imported from PubMed. Now I'm going to add these 3 references to the PubMed group under My Groups. So I'm going to highlight all 3 of them and then drag them to the PubMed group. Now, if I click on the PubMed group, all 3 references are also in this group. The second database that I usually demonstrate is CINAHL. So I'm going to go back into Firefox and close the PubMed tab. You can also find CINAHL under Selected Databases via this link here. So I'm going to click it and go to the CINAHL database. And just keep in mind that while I'm covering how to import citations from CINAHL, this method pretty much applies to all of the EBSCOhost databases. So I'm going to do another basic search just for diabetes within CINAHL and search. And I'm going to click on the first search result down here. So I'm going to click the title. And once I do, I'm going to scroll down and select the export option under Tools. Once you do that, it will prompt you to select a save method, and you want to make sure that you select the first one, Direct Export in RAS format. And this lists EndNote as one of those options. So go ahead and hit Save down here. And then make sure that you're opening up the RAS file with your version of EndNote. So with this database, I had to actually go in and select the program I wanted to open it with. Hit OK, and then it will open up EndNote for you. Again, this will go into imported references. So I'm going to drag that into my CINAHL group. Now I'm going to go back to CINAHL in my web browser and save this PDF full text. So I'm going to open it up and then save it from within CINAHL. So it's going to download, I'm going to save it, and then it will be in my downloads folder. So now I'm going to go back to the detailed record of the article, and I'm going to go back to the results list. That's how you would import one individual citation as an EndNote reference. But if you want to do more than one, say I wanted result number 2, the effects of oral consumption, and result number 3, I would select the blue folders with the plus icon, and they will turn into yellow folders with what looks like a document sticking out. So I'm going to do that to the third one also now. So once I've selected both of these articles and added them to my folder, then you go back up to the top of your CINAHL page and select the folder up here on the toolbar. From there, you'll be brought to the article view, and I'm going to select all and then export. And then I'm going to remove these items from the folder after saving, and then again here, make sure that you have the direct export in RAS format selected. Now go back over to the left, hit save, and open this RAS file again in EndNote 20. And now I'm also going to drag these two over to the CINAHL group. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to import references from one more database on the Medical Center Library with web page. So I'm going back to my Firefox browser, and now we're back in the folder in CINAHL. So I'm going to click the University of Kentucky's library link up here to go back to the main UK Libraries webpage. And then I'm going to navigate back to the Medical Center Library webpage. And from here, if you scroll back down to the bottom of the page, under Selected Databases, you'll be able to see where there's a link for the Web of Science core collection. So I'm going to click on the Web of Science link, and I'm just going to do another basic search here. So for example, right now I'm just going to search for heart attack. And from here, if I just wanted to import an individual citation, I could click on the title of this first article, Healthcare in Transition, and then go up to the top here, select Export, and then hit EndNote Desktop. And so I'm going to import the full record. So select Export, and then again make sure EndNote 20 is the program that you're opening this type of file with, and open this up in EndNote once again. Now the reference is in imported references, so I'm going to take it and drag it to the WOS Web of Science group. And now you can see that it went here. So now I'm going to go back to Web of Science. And I'm going to press this button here to go back to my search results. Now, if I want to export the second and third search results to EndNote, I can mark these boxes here. So it's those boxes next to the numbers with the title. And I'm going to scroll back up and select this box here where it now says export to EndNote desktop. And like in other databases, you have different options to pick from. You can select those two that you checkmarked, all results, or a certain number of records. But down here under record content, it defaulted to author, title, source, and abstract. I want the full record though. So I select full record and I hit export. Again, I'm just opening this up within EndNote and assigning these two references to the Web of Science group. So let's do that. One more database that people tend to ask about is Google Scholar. So I'm just going to open up Google Scholar within my web browser and do just a basic search for coronavirus. And then from here, if I want to get the citation for this first article, which is literally just called coronavirus, I'm going to hit this quotation mark button down here. That's the cite button. And then click the EndNote option down below. From there, you can open it up within EndNote. Hit OK, and the reference from Google Scholar will import. So I'm going to add this reference to the Google Scholar group now. An issue with importing references from Google Scholar is that you can only import one reference at a time. So you can't do them in bulk, you just have to pick and choose. And now that I've added 10 references to my EndNote library and to all groups, something else that I should show you is that if you delete a reference from one of your groups, it doesn't delete it from all references. This actually works slightly different in EndNote 20. So if I wanted to remove the coronavirus article from the Google Scholar group, I would have to right-click it and then select Remove Reference from Group, and then hit Yes. Now, when I do that, I just remove the article from the group, and you can see that it's still present in all references. If I wanted to delete an article from my all references, what I would do is drag that reference to the trash. And then from trash, if I wanted to permanently delete it, I would click here to empty the trash. And then hit yes. And now that reference was completely deleted from my EndNote library. Now let's focus on working with these references that we've added to the EndNote library within EndNote. So first off, I'm going to click on this first reference here, the effects of oral consumption article. And look over here on the right side of the screen. This is the summary panel. And the summary panel basically shows the various bibliographic information about the article, like the reference type, that it's a journal article, the author's year, title, etc. If you click the arrow down here at the bottom right, you will see what the reference will look like in the bibliography of your paper when you import it into Microsoft Word. But this probably doesn't look like anything you're used to seeing, because if you look at this drop-down box here, this is the bibliographic output style selector. And you'll see this is the annotated format that's selected. Most people are used to looking at something like APA style, which if you select a different style in the output style selector, you'll see that it automatically changed the style you see it as in the preview. Or if you don't like APA format, then maybe you like Vancouver style. It'll change to that too. If you want to select another style, you can select this first option here, select another style. And like a lot of people want to use the citation style for the American Medical Association. So for that one, you'll actually have to look up its acronym because it's not on that default drop-down list. So the acronym is JAMA for Journal of the American Medical Association. And when I search it, it brings it up and I can hit choose. And so now its style appears in that list and it automatically changed to that citation style in the preview. Now, if I close the citation window by clicking that arrow again, something else that you can do is change the information within the reference. So if I wanted to change the year of this article to the year 2020, then I could press this edit button here and go down to the year field and change it from 2021 to 2020. In EndNote 20, there's now a save button to save these changes. So I'm going to click on that. And now you can see over here on the reference that the year was actually changed to 2020. And I can just go and change it back now from 2020 to 2021, doing the same process. And I'll save that change too, so it's back to how it was before. Next, I'll show how to manually add a reference to EndNote. You would want to do this if, say, you have a PDF or a book or something that you didn't find in an online database that lets you automatically import the reference into EndNote. So if I go up here to References and hit New Reference, it will let you select what kind of reference type you want to work with. It defaults to journal article, but say you have a web page that you want to cite, there's an option for that. Or if you want to do an interview, which is what I'll select now. So in this case, if I want the interviewee for the interview to be the Medical Center Library Director, Rick Brewer, I would type in his name. And then say I want the year to be 2021, I'll type that in. Also, note based on the fields, there's interviewee, interviewer. Those are only fields that you would get when I select interview as the reference type. So the new reference will generate fields based on your reference type. And if I want to save this reference, I would hit the Save button up here at the top right, and then close the new reference window. And now this interview appears as a reference within my EndNote library right here. One last thing that I should demonstrate from within EndNote is how to manage your full text PDF attachments for your references. So if I click on the Effects of Oral Consumption reference within my All References and go over to Attach File under the Summary window, you'll see that no reference has been automatically attached to this reference. Now, if I click on the glycemic control article that I imported from CINAHL earlier, I actually did save the full text of that article to my Downloads folder. So I can attach that to this reference if I hit the Attach File button here. And so I'll navigate to my Downloads folder, and from this window, and then it's saved as document1.pdf from CINAHL. So I'm going to open that up, and now the full text PDF does display over in this document window here. Now, in order to actually save the attachment, you have to click out of the article that you were viewing just now. and it will prompt you to save the changes that you made. So I'm going to hit yes. And once it does save the attachment to the reference, you can see that there's a paperclip icon next to the author name. So if I open the PDF for the glycemic control article, you will see that there are different options that you can use on the PDF that display when I click the markup/annotation button right here. Like if I wanted to add a sticky note or highlight text or underline or mark through. Basically, you can see that there are different options for editing a PDF within EndNote. So if you want to save these changes, hit the small Save button up here at the top right. And these changes only save to the PDF copy within EndNote. So your original doesn't actually have any markup on it. There is also an automatic search method that you can use to find your full-text PDF attachments for your references within your EndNote library. And I'll show you how that works. So if I right-click on this third reference, the electrocardiographic one, and I go down to Find Full Text. Select the Find Full Text option, and you will get this authentication to log in with your LinkBlue username and ID if you completed the steps and preferences from the beginning of the video where you copy and pasted the URLs from the PDF document. So I'm going to log in with my LinkBlue username and password. And when you get to this database menu, the blue screen, just hit continue. And now it is searching over here where it says find full text here on the left. And it'll tell you whether it found it or not. If it found it, it'll say found PDF. But in this case, it said not found. So I'm going to highlight the other references in my library. And again, try to find the full text. Right-click, find full text, and it'll search for more than one at a time now. Okay, so over here on the left, you can see that it's found 3 of the PDFs so far, and it automatically attaches these PDFs to their references, as you can see with the paperclip icons that are now next to the titles. So that's just a quick way to retrieve full text for your references without necessarily having to download and attach them yourself. It won't work for all of them, but it'll save you some time. The last major thing that you need to know how to do is to create your citations and bibliography within a Microsoft Word document using EndNote. So I'm going to open a sample Word document now. And I'm just going to paste some sample text. Okay, so the first thing is let's insert a citation at the end of this sentence here. So you'll need to find the EndNote 20 toolbar at the top of your screen. And with the cursor still blinking at the end of that first sentence, go over here on the left side of the toolbar to Insert Citation, and again click Insert Citation. And I've done a search for cancer, in the Insert Citation window to find the references in my EndNote library. And if you go to the bottom left of this pop-up window, it'll show you the EndNote library that you have open. So I'm going to use this first reference, the Lucy's Cancers one. And if I just insert it, it will add the in-text citation where my cursor was. And it'll add the bibliographic citation at the end of the document. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Insert Citation feature. I'm going to put my cursor blinking at the end of the second sentence now. And I'm going to go back over here to Insert Citation. And if I want to insert the citation for this second article, the What is Cancer, click the down arrow next to Insert Citation, and you'll see that you have more options. So if you wanted to display it as author year, or if you wanted to exclude the author, or if you wanted to exclude the year, or only insert the reference into the bibliography, you have those different options. So I'm going to click the Insert and Exclude Author, just to show you that it will then only include the date in the in-text citation. See, it's only showing the year 2019. And there's another way to insert the in-text citation directly from EndNote. So I'm going to put my blinker here, and then go back to EndNote. And so I'm going to select this fourth reference now, the Healthcare in Transition article. And from there, I'm going to go up to Tools and select Cite While You Write. That's what they call the EndNote feature within Microsoft Word. So here, select Insert Selected Citations, and it'll insert the in-text citation where you have the blinker selected in the sentence. And if you scroll down now, you'll be able to see that all three citations were inserted in the bibliography in alphabetical order, starting with their first authors. And in my Word document, these references in the bibliography automatically default to being inserted with the APA 6 style. So what you need to do is change that to the citation style that you want to use. So if I wanted to change my citations to the Vancouver style, I could do that using the drop-down window like I just did. And also, like in the main EndNote program, you can select another style. Except here, there isn't a search feature, so you just have to scroll through and find the one that you want. And now I'm going to go and change this all back to the APA style. Another feature that's useful when it comes to your bibliography is that you can manage its layout. So I'm going to go to this bibliography section of the EndNote toolbar, the middle part here, and click this little box with an arrow down in the corner. So once you click that, go to the Layout tab, and you can actually adjust the line spacing right here. So for example, with APA format, they want the bibliography to be double spaced. So I would click that, and the standard format for the title for APA is for it to say references. So I'm going to type that now. So if I just hit OK here, it will adjust the format at the end of your paper for your bibliography. And something that you should notice when you click on a citation or reference within EndNote is that they can't be directly edited by backspacing and inserting more text directly into the Word document. So for example, I'm going to try that up here. so did you see how I tried to delete part of the year 2016 and it automatically rebounded back? That's because you can see how the text for the citations and references highlights in gray. They're actually generated by computer code and not inserted directly as plain text into the document. So, for example, if I wanted to edit this second citation here, the one that only has the year and not the author, I would go to Edit and Manage Citations, and it's this second citation right here. So go down to the Edit Citation part of the window and change the formatting. If I wanted to make it include both the author and the year, like the other citations, I could change the formatting to default, that first option, and just hit OK. And you'll see that the in-text citation has been adjusted now to also include the author. Now, if I wanted to change one of these references, like if I wanted to change the year on the CINAHL reference, I would go to its reference within EndNote. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to go back and select the Edit tab over here on the right. So if I wanted to change the year to 2020, I would do that within this Edit tab. And save it so it actually changes the reference. And you can see here that it changed it within EndNote, but it actually hasn't changed it within the Word document yet. So what I need to do is go up here to Update Citations and Bibliography and hit that. And now the citation and the reference are both changed to the year 2020, as you can see in the in-text citation there and the reference here, just like in the EndNote library. And so one last thing that is helpful for students and people who are going to be sharing their Word documents with other people is this Convert Citations and Bibliography button right up here. So if you click that arrow, there is a Convert to Plain Text option. So it's going to prompt me to save the document since I haven't done that already. So hit Yes. And I'm going to call this just Intro to EndNote. And then save that. And see, now it generated a document too. So if I click on the citations and references, I can just click on the in-text citation and there's no EndNote coding there. And then the same thing goes for when I just clicked on one of the references. And now I'm going to go back to the original Intro to EndNote document, and this version still has all the EndNote coding. Now, back in the document 2, the plain text version, the one where there is no EndNote formatting that currently exists, you could actually just delete and retype within this document. And if, say, your professor or a co-author wanted to make changes or comments in the document, they could do it in this plain text version of the document. And that concludes what we normally go over in an Intro to EndNote class at the Medical Center Library. Other topics you might be interested in could be like how to share an EndNote library with other people or how to customize your EndNote program to fit your needs. So if you have questions about that, you can contact a Medical Center librarian. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the contact information for us. So if you go back to the Medical Center Library webpage and scroll down to this Contact tab here, this email address, the mclib@uky.edu, is our reference services email. So if you have any questions about EndNote or if it's not working for you, then you can email us there and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.